Hi, my name is Anna Naumova and I'm a senior product manager at Zello. And I have 7 years of experience in product management. I moved to the US 3.5 years ago from Russia when I worked at the largest social network, let's say Russian Facebook. And when I moved, I started my career almost from scratch. And I decided to launch this podcast to help new immigrants and beginners to start their work in product. And here is my first interview, and we will talk to Natalie Cortina, my buddy and colleague, and also senior product manager at Zello. Hi, Natalie.
Hey, Anna.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm excited to do this with you.
Cool. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, of course. So I moved from Mexico to the U.S. when I was 10 years old, and I studied electrical engineering at UT in Austin, in our city. And I started working for Zello about 6 years ago now, and I did product management. I've been doing product management with them officially for about 3.5 years, but been doing kind of like product management tasks for longer than that. I would say like another like 1.5 years at least. So yeah, it's been a journey.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more. How did you start your career as a product manager? How it was?
Yeah, so when I started working for Zello originally, it was only 7 people. So it was like the CEO, the CTO, who you know, and then it was like 4 engineers and then me. So I basically was doing everything like the engineers weren't doing. And this included a bunch of stuff. I like set up the billing subscription model like through some platform for Zello. I was doing sales, I was doing customer support. And so that was really fun because I was doing a lot of stuff, but it was pretty overwhelming. So they hired more salespeople pretty soon after I started. And so I started gearing more towards like technical like support for the customers. So while doing that, I was really caught up in kind of getting to know our customers. So they would be like asking for features. I need this, I need that. And I was kind of like keeping track of that. And what's really funny is that Alex, I was reporting to Bill, who's our CEO, and Alex was our CTO. I would just go up to him because I'd be like, okay, you're the technical person. So I'd be like, okay, this customer has this question. I bothered him with every question. It was so bad. And Alex is Russian as well. And Russian people, they're like tougher. So I'd be like, hey, Alex, this customer wants this feature. And he'd be like, why? And I'd be like, I don't know. So I'd like go back and call them back. Why do you want this feature? What do you need? So that's how I kind of started to like get into the customer point of view, like, all the features and why do they want them. And like, it kind of took me into that trail on its own because I was like, I don't know. I need to explain this to Alex. And that's how I started actually kind of thinking about product management.
Yeah, now we understand why the question why is so important.
Exactly.
For product manager.
Yeah, for sure.
So what was a trigger for you that you are like close to be a PM?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can't actually remember like when I realized. Oh, actually, I do now. I don't have this written down, but I remember now. So I worked really closely with a product manager for one of our hardware partners, and so he basically was developing hardware for push-to-talk applications, and I would keep up with him a lot. By that time, let's say maybe like 1.5 years, we had identified that there's a gap and that we need to talk to partners to get it filled, right? And so I was keeping up with him on that like pretty often, every 2 weeks or so. And, he kind of was like, he's a product manager, and he kind of treated me like a product manager. But I wasn't aware, like, what is product management? I have no idea. We don't have a product manager at Zello. And he was like, you're like a product manager. And I was like, what?
What is that?
What is that? Yeah, I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, like you're doing, you're understanding customer needs, you're talking to customers daily, you're understanding pains, and you're creating features that fulfill their like their needs. So I was like,
did you go and Google that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I was like, are you sure? And it was funny because like I had been working with him, and then I was like, I wasn't sure. Like I was kind of doing the same thing. And he was like, yeah, you're great. Actually, he gave me a lot of confidence early on to be like, okay, maybe I'm doing something that has a name. I don't have that name or title, but I can still develop that. And so I started Googling it and kind of like, okay, I'm going to start maintaining features list and pains and all this stuff. And that's how I started kind of organizing all my ideas.
Yeah, tell me more. How did you learn? What did you read, or maybe courses?
Yeah, so early on, I'm not going to lie, I should have done more of it, but I was just looking at blogs and like kind of like essentials of product management.
What kind of blogs? Do you remember that?
I don't remember the names. I remember one book that really helped me. I didn't read it early on, but I think it would have helped me a lot. Was Inspired by Marty Kagan.
Yeah.
It's a great book. Yeah. And actually, Philippe, who also works with us, introduced me to it and was like, this is a great book and you can have it. Like, he let me borrow it and it's great. And so like if I would have had that then, I would have been like, oh my gosh, this is so easy, like in terms of understanding it. But back then I was mostly just like Googling and searches and asking questions from that guy. I think it was peers, like anybody who was a product manager, I kind of would be like, so what do you do? Like, how do you do that? And I would get more information. Later on as well, I did like the Go Practice course, which is more of like a qualitative, more metrics oriented course, and it was really helpful for me. Like, so helpful that they use Amplitude, and now because of that, in the course, now we use Amplitude at Zello as well. So yes, it's super helpful.
Some conferences did you attend?
Oh yes, I forgot the name of this. So I attended a Latin American conference.
Oh wow.
It was in Brazil, and it was like a UX conference, and it was really helpful. Like, I think one of the things I learned also for product management is that you do need to like know design. Like, you're not a designer, but you need to know good design from bad design, and like it was really cool. Like, especially UX was super helpful. I think it's IXDA is the name of the conference. And then another thing I did was I did a course for like product management with Itamar Gilad. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, or Gilad. And he was a product manager at Google, and he helped kind of, I remember he told me this, but I could be wrong. He introduced kind of like those inbox separations, where it's like your inbox and like promotions and social. And I took a 2-day course with him as well. It was really helpful. It was awesome. I'll look up the name and tell you.
Cool. Talking about your title, you mentioned that. So, did you ask for promotion to be like officially product manager, or tell me about it?
Yeah, it was so awkward because my official title was technical sales for like 3 years, like way too long. Like, I think. So again, I was working for a company that was really tiny. Like, Zello's still not huge, but it was really small. And I remember asking, I have a different manager now. And so Bill was my manager. So the CEO was my manager, and I was like in the business side. And I was like, I'm not really doing sales anymore. I was handling hardware partnerships and affiliates and like partners in general. And I was doing like technical support still, mostly because I was the only one that was kind of, I feel like, willing to do it. I really liked the product and I really liked learning, and so I was just doing it. But I had so many responsibilities, and I just really wanted to focus. I started to think, okay, I want to do product management. That's what I like. I like to do that. I'm going to do it. And so I finally, I had mentioned it to him, but I wasn't very good at convincing him. And hey, that's a really good skill for product management, influencing people and doing that. So what I did was I wrote a list of all my responsibilities. And I told Bill, I was like, these are all the ones I like.
And structure, being structured.
Yeah. I started to organize myself. Yeah. And I was like, these are all the ones I want to keep doing and I like a lot. And these, I just don't enjoy them as much. Like, I want us to hire someone else to take care of these, or to, so I can focus on these. And then I had a conversation, well, I wouldn't be your manager anymore. It'd be Alex, who was kind of like scared of. Yeah. I don't know if I want to say that out loud, but, he was kind of intimidating. But I was like, he was like, well, that's the person, you'd report to him. And I was like, sure, let's do it. And I think I had to do something where I basically talked to Alex and I was like, hey, I want to do this. Like, can you let me just do it? And then they were both really supportive and moved on.
You were proactive.
Yeah, I was very proactive. Yeah, and I think
cool,
it's pretty normal. Yeah, it was cool. It was an interesting transition.
You said you were in sales. You also be in like support, partnerships, and you had technical background from your university. What skills did help you to grow you as a product manager?
Yeah, so I mean, I didn't have a lot of work experience before my job at Zello, and this is like a really huge one that it's a soft skill, but I think it's so important, which is talking to customers. I really learned how to speak to customers and try to understand them, not just like talk at them, which is really easy in sales to just be like, let me pitch you this product and you want to buy this. But it was like, you know, they would tell me, well, we want this, and I would be like, why do you want this? Or, you know, what does that do for you? Or how are we going to use it? Or what do you do now to, you know, to solve the problem that you say you have? So that was really helpful. Like, I really got to know at least the Zello customers through talking to so many people all the time. So that was really helpful. Another thing is just organizational skills. I didn't really have them as much. And I started to look for resources, again, online, just Googling, like, how do I log requests? How do I prioritize? Like, how do I tell, you know, really it was like, there was no product manager. It was Alex, who's a CTO and a product manager. He was managing the engineers and doing all the stuff. And I really had to be like, this is really important. We need to get it done because this, and this, and this. And I had to have kind of a business case for why we need to make something. So that was helpful. Let me see what else. I wrote something down. Yeah, I guess, this is obvious, but sort of when you talk to customers, understanding why, like, they want something is part of talking to customers, but...
Like empathy, yeah?
Yeah, like empathy, or... sometimes it's really easy. Like, I remember at the beginning, they would just tell me, I want pictures. Just an example. And I would just write it down. And, like, that was it. But I didn't actually understand why. And I guess I didn't think it was important. And as I started to grow in product management, I was like, this is very important. Like, that's the most important thing, is why do you want this? Or why do you need this? How are you going to use it? So it was really good to learn that. So it's very, like, I think, you know how product managers, you can have different types of, like, not every product manager is the same. You have very technical ones. I'm very, like, customer oriented, which is a good skill to have. But
Cool. Did you have any difficulties in your transition? Maybe some awkward situation with your team in your new role? Maybe lack of, I don't know, confidence, something like that?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't formally trained. Like, I spoke to a peer who was trained to be a product manager by Microsoft, which is like, whoa. I was like, that sounds amazing. But I wasn't trained to do that. So I was always very kind of, at the beginning, like, and I still am sometimes, you know, like, I was insecure about, like, some of the product, like, intuition I had developed from, I know the customer. Like, frankly, I can say now, looking back, that I knew our customers. I probably, in that small company, I was the only one who knew our customers, because I was the only one talking to them, not just in a sales role, but, like, also trying to learn from them. And I didn't have the confidence to be like, no, wait, I know what they want. I know who they are. Can we learn more? Yes, but, like, I was the expert. Yeah. And I didn't realize that until later. So it's really cool. It was a little awkward also, like, taking on a role where in the past with engineers, like, I could just be like, we need this, and I could just describe it and they would make it. Because I was working with founder engineers. Like, they're, you know, it was like the main guys, and they were like, oh yeah, I get it, I'm gonna make it, whatever. And when they formalized my title, well, now I had to do product requirements documents and, like, you know, really detailed, and, like, so that was really hard on me because I wasn't used to that. I was like, well, I just tell people what customers need and they make it. And now it wasn't like that. I was like, Alex had more expectations. It was like, you have to give me this and give me that. And I was like, oh,
where's your success criteria?
Yeah. Who were target customers, and it's like, I had them all here, but I had to write it down. So that was hard.
Yeah. That's true. So you already told me how did you learn, and how are you learning and developing your skills now? Are you continue reading books, or
Yeah, I mean,
is it important for product manager?
yeah, absolutely. Like all the time. I think like being open to learning. Like I even picked up a sales book the other day because I was like, okay, I have this new product I need to sell basically. And like we have salespeople, but I need to get on the phone, talk to customers, and convince them that this is the product they need. Like that's part of a product manager's job too, right? You're a sales guy also.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I literally, like when I feel like I don't feel strong in a subject, I pick up a book and just read about, it could be anything, like marketing, it could be sales.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that's
have to do
super
it.
impressive. Yeah. Yeah, I've never read a sales book. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, I agree.
fun.
Yeah, so I'm just embarrassed.
Still not a good
Yeah.
salesperson, like compared to salespeople. I'm like, what? How do you do that? I wish I could say that, but it's fun to learn.
Talking about your work now, I know that you are leading a mission team at Zalo. What is that?
Mission team.
Yeah.
So mission.
I've never heard
Yeah.
about that before. You introduced me that.
Well, I hadn't heard about it before. I was like, hey, you need to lead a mission team. And I was like, great, what is it?
What is it?
Yeah. So the way I understood it, at least for us at Zello, I think it's different depending on who you, like what company. But for Zello specifically, we united a team of people that come from different backgrounds. So sales, marketing, development, design, product, and customer success. So it's like one of each. And we just basically unite in one goal, which usually, you have your company goals and you might have like a vision for the company as well. But you kind of, this is a larger company concept. So for a smaller company, it's not so normal. And so we like united into, I would say it's like a mini startup team within the startup. So it's a lot of
You're not just a product manager, you're like CEO.
Well,
now,
yeah, you have to have a vision like a CEO. I still have to deal with our CEO, make sure that it's matching up, right? But yeah, I'm in charge of a lot of decisions that are within the team and
outside of the product scope.
It's beyond product scope.
Yeah.
It's trying to talk to marketing to make sure that aligns with our product vision. Make sure that sales is selling the product the way as we're building it. We're changing so quickly because we're a little startup. Everything changes fast. So like we could have a product pipeline and I am changing it almost weekly sometimes, where like I spoke to 10 customers and everyone needed something, and I'm literally trying to get basically like engagement and get customers to use it. So I'm just adding stuff that maybe like on a larger scale I would hesitate to add, but I'm like, no, I really need someone to adopt this, so I'm just going to start changing things around. So it's been really fun. It's been difficult. It's a lot of project management too. Just being really organized and like beyond product and development and design. It's like all these other guys, we have to all work together. So
is it helpful?
Yes, I think so. I would recommend
you
it.
can recommend everybody to launch that mission team?
Yes. Yeah, I think so what we're doing, it's a kind of like a strategic product, and it's not short term either. I think we talked about this, like how it might be a bit more long term, and so uniting people like this, it really keeps you in the loop with each other. So like I talk to sales every day, I talk to customer success every day, and even though you're supposed to do that with product management, I feel like normally it might be like once every 2 weeks or once every week, and like no, we sit together so I can turn around and be like, so how did that customer call go, and like immediately I get feedback, immediately I understand the needs and pains, and I can go back and call them, of course, but it's just kind of keeping up with everything live from your customers and back. So it's cool. It's fun.
Cool.
It's stressful, but it's fun.
Yeah, but you learned a lot. And,
so much. It's been amazing. Yeah.
So maybe great. You're like, how much time you've been in that team? 3 months. Yeah.
Almost 3 months. I would say maybe 3 months.
Yeah, maybe for 3 months.
Mid-December started kind of the planning phase, and then the planning phase continued a lot longer. I think I know now how I could make that faster. Yeah. Everything I could do faster now because I was still thinking.
Accomplished more within this team, yeah.
faster.
Yeah, faster. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really like good analogy. It's a startup.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. All right. So you said that you moved to the U.S. when you were 10, and you have just immigrant like your roots. Do you think that it's affect your life and career today?
So I think because I moved here when I was 10, I went to school here. I think language I kind of developed when I was a kid. So that's been easy for me compared to like someone that might, like you came here later, and so it's harder.
30.
Yeah, it's harder. It's much harder. But I would say like where I feel like I don't have any like disadvantages, but I think where I know the difference maybe is even like through college, right? Like my parents didn't go to college in the U.S. They went to college in Mexico. So it's a totally different process. Like I had to really depend on other people, like ask around, look on, be very resourceful, I guess would be like the right way to say it. Like you just kind of like try to do it yourself because your parents can't tell you.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
It's just like you just have to figure it out. And I think just working with others or learning how to ask for help has helped me in general, like in my career, to be like, oh, like you don't do things alone because I can't, it's, and my family's not going to be able to tell me exactly what to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it's cool.
You were more mature than like people who were born here. Yeah.
Arguably, I don't know, maybe, but I mean, I do think that you develop a lot of grit early on, because when you grow up in the same place always, if you're smart or you think you're smart, right? Like you don't have to try as hard. Like you just kind of go along and everything's easy. But when you move to another country, you're already at a disadvantage. It doesn't matter if you're smart. Like you're super smart. You still have to learn English. You still have to learn culture. You still have to learn traditions. You still have to learn how people interact. Your interactions are not my interactions. So regardless of whether you're smart, it doesn't matter because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like you just have to start over, like you said.
Learn from scratch. Yeah,
learn from scratch.
Yeah.
Whether you're a product manager in Russia, you come back here, you learn everything again.
Yeah.
So you develop a lot of perseverance. Like you can't give up because you're gonna mess up pretty much from the beginning, like the whole time, and then you're gonna be like, oh my god, I'm like a failure, and you're just gonna be like, all right, get up again the next day.
Okay, cool. Who inspires you?
That was a really hard question because I don't really
Marcy Haggard.
No. Honestly, I would say for me, women leaders in tech.
Who?
Well, I read like Sheryl Sandberg's book. I think she's incredible, like Lean In and whatnot. It's very like controversial, like oh, do you have to lean in or whatever. But I think because I'm in tech, I understand like regardless of how equal things are in America, and I think we are making strides towards equality. Like you're still working with a bunch of dudes, like
yeah. That's true.
Your team, right?
All men, yeah.
All men.
Yeah.
My team, actually, right now, my mission team has some women.
Yeah.
Yes, but
because of sales.
Yeah, because of sales and marketing.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you're just dealing with a bunch of men who they're all developers too. So
super skeptical.
Yes, they're you're already not like them. You're not a developer. And so anytime, like for example, I really admired one of our coworkers, Erica, she was the only executive in Zello, and to me that took a lot of guts, and a lot of times I feel insecure, like I will never.
She was super inspiring, yeah.
Yeah, she was great. She was just like go-getter, and to me, like, that's one specific example, but in general, like, I think women who go out every single day and go into the tech industry as a woman and you have to deal with all these men, like, good for you. Because honestly, like, you're never going to be a part of, like, we're not men, and that's okay. But, like, you can't ever get as close to them as they can get close to each other. Like, it's just not going to happen. And that's okay. I'm not upset about it, but it's a reality. And, they can be buddies, they can be friends, and you're kind of, like, out here, like, hey, guys, like, I also want to play. But it's not the same. And I think it's something that we need to like talk about, because more than inequality and stuff, there's just like subtleties that it's not like pure on sexism. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's just men hang out with men and women hang out with women. And guess what? There's not a lot of women in tech and leadership positions, so you don't have anybody to be inspired by on a regular basis. No. It's all guys.
Cool. That's true, yeah.
It's kind of political, but...
Mm-hmm. Talking about... We already talked about qualities, but I'd like to just clarify what the most important quality for
mm-hmm.
PM.
I think for sure, like, I know this is cliche, but like being a good listener is important. A lot of what we do is listen to people every day, all day long, literally, like from customers to developers to design. And I'm still developing that right now. Like, I don't feel like that's my strongest suit still. Like, I could be a better listener.
Do you remember hints how to be a good listener?
Oh, yeah.
No multitasking.
Yeah, no multitasking. Pay attention.
Yeah. Multitasking, yeah.
That was a good podcast. You should post that. Like, this is what we listen to. But that's a really big one. I think being able to look at things high level is really important. You can get really caught up in details and
like a zoom in, zoom out.
Mm-hmm. You gotta zoom in, zoom out. When I'm having trouble with something I'm working on, I'm usually not zooming out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to do. I don't know. I have this. I have that. And then you have to like be able to be like, okay, what's the big picture? What's the goal? Who am I helping? Like, just kind of go back through your PRD with all like the, goals or problem, goals, target customer. What am I tracking? How am I measuring success? Like, doing that is super important. Being organized is important. Like, I'm not great at it, but I think being in product management just pushes you to... Now I'm really organized even in life. Like, I just, have a spreadsheet for everything. My travels, my work life, just everything.
Yeah.
I think empathy, you mentioned that. Being able to connect and just understand people... I just really cannot express how important it is to just really have empathy for people, because
you make product for people, not for yourself.
And I think as a product manager, you're that person. Your team is usually a designer and an engineer and maybe data, and you're in charge of that. Like, a developer is going to be in charge of making good engineering decisions and making sure it works fast and making sure it's developed properly, but they're not really going to try to be like, is the customer going to be able to use it?
Mm-hmm.
And design is, but even design can get caught up in making it look beautiful and and I like beautiful things. I love it. I mean, of course, but at the end of the day, it's again back to the customer. What do they need? What do they like? It's beautiful, but can they use it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah. That's opposite. Yeah. What quality can prevent you to be a successful product manager?
Oh, that's a good one.
Be egoistic. Yeah. Selfish.
Yeah, being selfish is a really good one. A lot of times, I think fear is a big one too.
Yeah.
I'm scared all the time because we have to interact with so many people. Like, if you can be shy. I don't want to say shy people can't be product managers, but you have to speak up. It's so important. And I'm pretty talkative, and even sometimes I leave meetings and I'm like, why didn't I bring that up? It's in my head. I speak to customers. You are the expert in a lot of times, so you're sometimes I'm afraid to say that's not going to work for a customer, and because you have to back it up, right? You can't just be nope. You have to be it's not because of this, this, and this. Being afraid is going to prevent you. You have to pick up the phone and call someone. You have to talk to sales, talk to customer success, talk to the CEO, talk to everybody involved. And so if you're afraid, it's not going to go well.
Yeah, I agree.
You
have to leave your comfort zone here. I do that almost every day. Pick up the phone and talk
every interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is what else can prevent you? Yeah, just not being open, or making too many assumptions. I know early on, because you get to know your customers so well, you can get kind of cocky. oh, I know what they want. Oh, I know. So, like, I know that's one thing, like, I always try to keep myself in check, like, wait, do I know what they want? How do I know what they want? Like, when did I hear that? How do I, and then just recheck, validate, alpha testing, beta testing. You can test it with your friends. Like, honestly, half the time I'm, like, unsure about something, I just go to the sales team or, like, whoever hasn't seen the product and engineering, and I'm like, do this. Mm-hmm. Can you do that? Can you complete the task? No, you can't. I knew it. Or, oh, they can. I was being paranoid. So I still do that a lot. Alpha testing is awesome.
Cool. What can you recommend for beginners?
I think for sure, like, the books that I was telling you I was trying to read, I started to read later on.
Could you repeat it?
Yes. So for sure, Inspired, great book. Especially for startups, like, it kind of starts to set up, like, the structure. I'm trying to remember the title for 4 Steps to Epiphany is another really good one.
Yeah.
I think Steve Blank is the author.
Yeah.
And that's a good way to, like, get an understanding of a product manager's mind. Like, how do you get to, like, product development is just one step. There's so much going ahead. There's a really good podcast called This is Product Management. Have you heard of it?
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. And they interview product managers and they tell you stuff. It's pretty cool. So you can, like, go through and search, like, what am I interested in? Just listen to it. It's like 30 minutes or 40 minutes, not that much. And then just, like, go to LinkedIn and talk to people. I'm doing that now because I just recently got promoted. Just peers that are product managers. Yeah, like, when I was promoted to senior product management, I was like, okay, I need to do a check. Like, am I doing what a senior product manager does in other companies? Because Zello, I've only worked here, and I like Zello. So, like, I don't want to leave to find out whether I'm a good product manager that could fit anywhere. So I'm starting to talk to senior product managers and, like, hey, what do you do? Like, what's your role?
That's a good hint, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And sometimes I'm not, I'm like, oh, shoot, Amazon's pretty advanced, or, Microsoft is amazing. But at least I know, like, there's so many different types of work styles. It doesn't mean, like, they're bad or, one's worse. It's just, it works different in different companies. But it's great. Like, the same concepts apply. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah, and my last question and my favorite question on user interviews. Do you have anything else what I haven't asked you but you think it's important?
That's a great question.
Maybe you have something to share.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm, like, taking time.
Okay, we have time.
I think this is a good question, which is, like, what tools do you use in product management, like, on a day-to-day? And I feel like I don't have all the best answers either, but I want to know what other people do. Like, so if I watch your interviews, I'm like, okay, what are they using? Cool. I definitely love Google Docs. It's so simple, but I love it. Just because you can create something and people can comment, you can see and track it and stuff. Right now I'm using Trello, and I really like it for, like, just, like, project management kind of, and also, like, a long-term vision. You can really see where your product's going to be, like, in a year if you just start putting everything in order. Gantt charts from, like, Trello, I forgot the name. Team Gantt is pretty fun. It's I feel like it needs a little bit more work to get to the speed where I can use it more, but I like it. GitHub we use a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Not a huge fan.
Not a
oh my
huge
god,
fan.
edit that out.
Airtable, yeah.
Airtable's good. I would love to know more about that from other product managers too, just to see.
Cool.
That's
cool.
it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's great to do this. Yeah.
Yay.
I was like, am I supposed to look at the camera? Done.
Cool. Yeah.
I don't even know if I said everything. I was supposed to
I think it was good. Yeah.